YouTubers. I am so excited to be back here and talking to you guys today. If you don't notice already, in all of my videos, I'm always excited to talk about book writing, personal development, goal setting. Like, these are things that I genuinely feel like I was born to do, and I just am so grateful that I'm actually able to do these things on a regular basis. So earlier this week, I was working with a potential client, and what she had stated is that she felt like book writing was going to be too complicated of a process for her to handle. Although she desired to write a book, she just felt like the idea of actually making it happen was too hard. It was too difficult. She came up with all the excuses that we hear that I hear all the time. I don't have enough time. I don't know where to begin. I'm not a good writer. I don't know what to write about. She had all the excuses in the world. And so what I told her is that book writing doesn't really have to be complicated. It's a choice that we make to believe that it's a complicated process. And it doesn't have to be that way. When I started my book writing experience, it was extremely complicated for me as well. I had never been a good writer. In fact, I was actually told that I was never a good writer. Um, I didn't really know which topic I wanted to write about. And that's the reason that I wanted to come and talk to you guys today, is because as an author, a best-selling author, and someone who has now 5 books, I want to, not 10, 5. I wanted to be able to come and talk to you guys about my experience so that I could relate to you guys and so that you can understand that I'm not like on some high hill looking down at you guys and not understanding what you went through. So my story a little bit. A couple years ago, I desired to write a book. And as I desired to write this book, I had this like great idea about this children's book that was going to be highly impactful to children that were going through a hard time. Now, at the time, I was a clinical counselor working with children who lived in traumatic households. And so that was kind of where my passion lied. But as I sat down to write this book, I felt overwhelmed. I felt frustrated. So I kind of just was like, whatever, I'll get to it someday. That someday thinking. And days and months and years went by, and I never got to it. And so one day I was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm dedicated. I'm ready to start working on this book. So I sat down to start writing my book, and the idea was gone, like completely gone. To this very day, this is right 3 years later, I don't even remember what my first book idea was going to be about. And so I was so mad at myself. And so I promised myself from that point forward that anytime an idea came up to me, I was going to write it in my journal. And so I slept with my journal. I carried my notepad with me in my purse. And from there on, I started writing notes. So my next idea, which is not my first book, Quick Tips for Busy Women, popped into my mind that I was going to write a book. And so I started jotting ideas down. I started jotting down what the book was going to do. I even wrote down my visualization activity. I wrote down what this book was going to do for me, speaking engagements and helping women across the world. And I had this whole idea I was going to be featured on Oprah. And so I wrote down all these things that the book was going to do for me. And every time I sat down to write, I would look over that so that I had this excitement behind me. I had this willing to write, because I'm like, I cannot wait to get to this other side. I can't wait to do these things that I have listed here. And so I started to write. And much like you, I had no clue what I was doing. My words looked like word vomit. I was all over the place, but I kept writing. I told myself I was not going to give up. I was just going to keep writing, whether or not it made sense. And so if you had seen my writing in the beginning, it was everywhere. I mean, it was all over the place. It made absolutely no sense. And I felt frustrated in the process, but all I did was I journaled my thoughts. I journaled my frustration. I journaled how tired I was. I journaled the anxiety that I had about being able to reach these goals that I had surrounding being an author. And I just kept writing. Well, eventually I ended up just Googling a bunch of different things and working with people. And then I took it one step further and hired a coach. And I ended up creating a strategy that allowed me to publish my book. Now, when I did this, I did not realize what God had in store for me. You see, I took advice from different things that I had Googled, from different things I had read, from a coach that I had talked to, and kind of put it together and kind of crafted my own strategy. And I wrote about it in my journal. And so when I published my first books, women started coming out of, everywhere. Hey, Nicolia, how did you become a best-selling author? Hey, Nicolia, how did you find time to write your book as a busy woman? Hey, Nicolia, how did you do this? And I had no idea that this would be an opportunity for me to use something that I enjoy doing and help and support other women do the same. And so I started working with, 1 woman, 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, so on and so forth. And started helping them write, publish, and prosper off of their books. And what I used was my journal. I used So I was able to relate to their feelings. Like, oh, I remember on this date, I was feeling frustrated because I had sat down to write and I felt like I was writing the same thing that I wrote yesterday. Or I remember on another day, I sat down to write and I was so irritated because nothing would come up, you know? And so I was able to relate to those feelings and let them know this is the strategy that I used to overcome those feelings, those moments, those days. And that is how I was able to take a hard and overwhelming process and make it actually pretty seamless, right? I just took this frustration that I had and I made it possible to be able to write a book. And not only did I make it possible to be able to write one book, I've now written five, and I've been able to support and help other women write their books as well. And so, the point of this video, one, is for you to get a little backstory about me being able to understand where you are in the process. But more importantly, I want to tell you that book writing doesn't have to be complicated. It does not have to be any more complicated than we believe it is. And so I want to come and share some strategies with you on how you can make sure the process is not overwhelming or too complicated for you. So the first strategy, if you notice, the first thing that I did was I decided that I was going to push through past my emotions, right? Our goals don't give two craps about our emotions, right? And if you sit there and you're basing your goals on how you feel, you're not going to accomplish anything. You know, think about how many authors were turned away. Think about like Oprah. Oprah wanted to be a TV star. She was turned away. They told her she wasn't they told her she was unfit for TV. That makes no sense. And had Oprah internalized that and said, all right, well, I'm unfit for TV, there would be no OWN network. Our goals do not care about our feelings. And so you have to stop basing your goals on your feelings. You have to stop thinking that, okay, well, if I don't feel like doing my goal, I'm not going to do my goal, because nothing will happen from that. I can guarantee that. So I had to push past that frustration, those anxious thoughts, those misunderstandings, the anger, the irritated, the sadness. Like, I had to push past all that and still work on my goals, because my goals didn't care about that. Another thing that I had to do was I had to really be dedicated to my goal and make time in my schedule for my goal. See, a lot of people say that they're dedicated to their goal, but when it comes time to moving something around, oh, you can't watch How to Get Away with Murder. You can't watch Power. You can't watch This Is Us. You can't, I love This Is Us, by the way. You can't watch whatever show. People are like, oh, I'm not trying to give that show up, right? I'm not trying to give up Happy Hour. I'm not trying to give up whatever it is that matters to them. But in the meantime, if your goal truly matters to you, you do have to give up those things. You do have to give up the things that aren't that important in that moment. And it's not to say that you'll never be able to do it. I missed a whole season of This Is Us to work on my fourth book. But guess what? I'm caught up. I'm not missing a beat, you know. I luckily am able to just go through and watch it again. And so sometimes you do have to give up on the things that seem fun in the moment for the things that are truly going to matter in the long run. Another thing to make sure that the book writing isn't hard is you want to write about something you're passionate about. A lot of times people are like, oh, I want to write about being a lawyer because I'm a lawyer and that's what people think that I should write about. But you know what? I'm really sick of my career and I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And so I don't really know if I should be writing about being a lawyer. I can tell you that writing about that's not really going to take you really, really far, because you'll burn out. It's not something you're passionate about. The difference in my books is I'm truly passionate about personal development. I'm truly passionate about helping women create routines that set them up for success. I'm truly passionate about women setting and reaching goals. I am truly passionate about women writing books and becoming authors and adding that to their bio, right? And so if you notice, that's what all my books are about. And so therefore my books came off really easy because that's something that I was passionate about. It wasn't something that I had to think twice about. There's so much knowledge base. I could write 30 more books about that topic, those topics, because they matter to me. It's something that's passionate. And that passion will push you through those emotions. That passion will be like, you know what? I'm irritated today, but that passion will step in and be like, but I really need another woman in this world to hear this story. You know, it will really push you through those moments. And then if you notice, the third thing that I did was I hired a coach. And so a lot of people, get stuck in the process and they're like, I'm going to try to figure it out myself. But why would you want to make something that's already really difficult even more difficult by trying to figure it out yourself? Use somebody's footsteps and make them your blueprints. That's what I tell my clients all the time. My journal that I wrote is literally what I used to create my whole entire course. That was a blueprint that I was able to share with my clients. And so that's the same thing that you can do. You don't have to make the process overwhelming at all. You can talk to authors. You can talk to writers. And you can learn from those experiences. You can read books about them. You can do all of that. And you don't have to make this hard. The moment you make a goal harder than it needs to be is the moment that it will be harder to accomplish. And nobody wants a goal that's extremely hard to accomplish. Of course, you want to put in the work. But if the goal feels out of reach, what purpose is it? So, I say all that to say that you can reach your goal. You just have to set yourself up for success. Push through those emotions. Hire a coach. Write about what you're passionate about. Set yourself up for success as far as the time frame in your schedule, making time for it. And when you do those things, they don't have to be frustrating. And again, I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, book writing is easy. It has become easy for me now. But in the beginning, I was exactly where you were. I wasn't a great writer. My writing was all over the place. I had a million topics in my head. I was frustrated and irritated. I wanted to watch TV instead of writing my book. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to sleep in. There was a million other things that I wanted to do. But I made my book writing a priority. And you can too. If it's something that you truly desire to accomplish, it can happen. So I want to let you guys know how I can help you. I'm going to put a couple links below. The first thing I want to share is I have a special offer where I teach you how to write your chapters. It's a training that I give that tells you how to take your topic, break it down into chapters, and organize and structure your writing so it's not like just thrown and tossed on this paper all over the place. It looks like a hot mess, right? That is completely free. It's an opportunity for you to literally write your chapters step by step by step and break down the writing process easily. You know, what's the old saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And this training is teaching you how to write your book one bite at a time. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'll link you to below is my book. It's called Make Your Message Your Masterpiece. If you desire to write a book and you desire to become an author, you desire to learn how to become a best-selling author and maybe even write multiple books, then this book is for you. It literally takes you from the beginning stage of just an idea all the way down to the marketing and publishing and prospering stage. And so the book is broken down in easy segments so that you can write it, again, those bite-sized chunks, so you can read it and actually go forward with writing your book. So I'll put those links below. You'll definitely want to check them out. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. This is an opportunity for you to really make your dreams come true. This is your chance to make a change. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side, the author side, that is, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day. Bye.